Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, in every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 3, Episode 4 of FX and Hulu's Reservation Dogs, entitled Friday. This episode was something of a palate cleanser, I think, after the heavy-duty shit from last week, but I think we needed it. I think this show has been on a pretty long run, a consecutive run of powerful episodes dating well into last season. I'd almost forgotten how funny this show can be. And while I think this episode was very clearly meant to be fun and a relaxing good time after the heavy shit from last week, it did also kind of give us some insight into the futures of these kids. So the premise of this episode is essentially that the kids are being punished for the California trip. So they're sent off to the IHS to clean. While there, they each have experiences that I think are kind of meant to illuminate their past going forward, both for them and for us as the audience as well, given, of course, that this is the final season too. So we got to see, like, okay, how are these kids' stories going to end? And I feel like this episode kind of set up their paths. So Willie Jack, she bonds with Fixico, who ominously speaks of a forthcoming metaphorical rain and of his impending death. I suppose the impending death could be the forthcoming metaphorical rain he was referring to, but I feel like that'd be kind of vain, right? Like, I'm about to die, so it's gonna be really shitty for everybody here. But Willie Jack shows interest in how he recommends medicine to others. So she lets Cheese clean the dick and balls that she spray painted. She spray painted because she says that she like reacts like, oh, that's my best work. So she makes Cheese clean the stuff that she apparently spray painted on the wall, while she essentially decides to take over Fixico's role and learn from him. Bear has the most interesting future, obviously. I think they laid out pretty clearly up front that he's going to be a strong focus in this final season, if not the main focus. But the stuff they're setting up for Bear could get pretty heavy. We're only on the 4th episode, but there have been an awful lot of mentions of Bear potentially getting locked up, like in an asylum or something like that, for continuing to refer to all of these mystical things that most people don't believe in, like his, seeing Willie knife and all the stuff he tells Jackie from last week, eggplant, star people, and what was the last thing? Oh, the conquistador. I was right about conquistador too when I said that. But yeah, so lots of mentions of Bear possibly getting locked up for continuing to say these things that people are going to find crazy. Continue to say he sees dead people. No Sixth Sense. Not to mention that was essentially the entire point of episode 2. It was kind of just like, if you do this, this could be what could happen to you. Like this guy, I forget his name, but you keep talking about star people and Willie Knife, you could end up with this guy's life. So that's pretty compelling. In this episode, we see him tell Jackie about his experience from episode 2, and she doesn't really seem to be buying it either. But they also could be setting up Jackie as like a love interest for him, which Rita and Bev kind of like lay out. I don't have any interest in that, but whatever. I'm sure this show is so good that if they feel like that's where they need or want to go, I'm satisfied that they'll make it something that I find enjoyable and that I won't like roll my eyes at. Cheese ends up getting the glasses. They like I like how she was like how long are you supposed to get those? How long has it been or something like that? I was like, he's supposed to get them glasses last season, but he gets the glasses he was supposed to get in season 2, and he doesn't get much more attention than that in the episode. But I feel like it's kind of more of a metaphorical setup for Cheese. Like there's a lot of conflict within Cheese, particularly as it pertains to what he wants to do and where he's gonna go in his life versus what Bear and Allura are gonna do. And I just wonder if the glasses are kind of like a metaphorical thing, like he's just gonna see things more clearly going forward, right? And then last but not least, Allura gets her medical records for school. It's side note, I don't even think she actually wants to go to school. I could be wrong, but like I feel like she just wanted to get out of that convo about working at the IHS. And then when she actually goes to get the records, it says that for school, there's a part of me that thinks that the whole purpose was to see if she could get the dad's name. But whether or not that was the case, she does get the dad's name on her paperwork. And I think that's, of course, setting up her seeking out her father. What was his name? Rick Morris or some shit like that? Like, he is the whitest fucking name ever. And then we know Bear still has unresolved issues with his father as well. So we know those are two things that the show is definitely going to resolve before it wraps up, but also probably going to connect those two, Allura and Bear, and have them kind of experience a journey that could at least be tied together. Not the same journey, but journeys that are kind of similar to one another, related. So yeah, while this episode felt mostly like set up for the past of these characters of the final season, I thought what it set up was pretty intriguing. And I also think this is one of the funniest episodes of the whole series. It was easily the funniest episode this season, but one of the funniest episodes of this series. So I want to talk about some of the stuff I thought was really good, real quick, before I wrap up. Not a long video, because like I said, not a lot happened, but I want to talk about some of the stuff I thought was funny. When, I think it's Willie Jack's dad, was calling everybody names, and he called Cheese, like, he said, like, jackaloons, and Cheese like, what's a jackaloon? And he was like, it's a person who jacks off is crazy. And he was like, you get that? He, him, is? Because when Cheese started doing the pronouns, every time Cheese does the pronouns, I laugh. I'm just like, here go Cheese fucking pronouns again. And I like that somebody, it's like, you get that? He, him, is? After, what's his name? The white guy? What do they call him? White Sam, or the white guy, the white in the opposing crew. After he gets that shirt that he wanted, bingo, you can hear someone in the background going like, you look cute, bro. I thought that was funny. The lady who Cheese got his glasses from, making him film her doing some dance for TikTok or whatever, I thought that was funny. I thought when he looks up at her and he goes, oh, wow, you're beautiful. I thought that was a really genuine moment that came off real. Like, where, like, as if you're that woman, your heart probably swooned in that moment, like, oh my God. Because it felt very natural and not contrived, like a flirt. It just felt like an actual realization, like, wow, I've been looking at you all this time, blurry, and now that I see you clearly, you fine as fuck. Like, I thought that was, like, a really genuine moment. I thought that was nice. And then lastly, the crowning achievement of this episode, and maybe the entire series as a whole, was Big and Bev flirting with each other at the IHS. Man, she was talking about his balls, like, and the sounds that he was making, reacting to what she was saying. Oh my God, it was so funny. And then, let me tell you, if you stopped the episode right when the credits started, you missed the credit scene that was so funny. You could hear, like, the crew laughing in the background. That shit with that bubble gum, oh my God, man. That stuff with Big and Bev, that's the funniest stuff they've done in the whole series, man. Like, the sounds that he was making, oh shit, man. Oh man, it was so good, man. So, like I said, not a lot to go over because there's just not a lot that happened in this episode. It was mainly set up for the paths of the characters, the main characters going forward, and just a whole lot of laughs and a good time, just as a palate cleanser for last week. I thought it really worked in that way. Even when this show isn't doing deep shit and is really just trying to be funny, it's great at that as well. Another solid episode to start this season. I expect nothing less out of this show. I expect it to make a strong run at my #1 show for this year, as it did last year. So let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments, and I will see you guys next week for episode 5. And until then, peace.